are you a real voice actor if you aren't full-time? I mean, after all, how can you truly be something if you aren't only that thing? If you have to answer phones and serve food for the man, are you really an artist? What stupid questions, but hopefully it boiled your blood enough to keep watching. According to Backstage.com, a side hustle, survival job, or side gig is a job someone takes in order to pay the bills while pursuing a career they love. It means waiting tables or pushing carts during one part of the day so you can pay bills, and reserving the other part of the day to send in auditions or schedule sessions and stuff. I realize I'm over-explaining the idea of a job, but the gut feeling so many of us have at one point or another is that our voice work is somehow less legitimate if we have to make money some other way in order to eat and keep the lights on. I know I personally have had that feeling of, oh, I'm only playing pretend because the thing that pays most of my bills is not voice acting. If I were a real voice actor, this is all I would ever have to do. If I were really any good, people would pay me the right amount of money so I could only do this all the time. Well, I'm happy to slap you across the face and tell you that it's just your inner saboteur talking. That stuff isn't true. To be perfectly honest, the idea of a career in acting that sustains all parts of our lives may neither be in the cards for most of us, nor is it something most of us really want when we explore what it means to become that dog who catches the proverbial car. We actors love acting. It's a brutal business, and the only way we can really endure people undercutting our rates, trying to pay us an exposure, and having tech bros literally try and replace our jobs with AI is to love the job. In fact, we love the job so much, we want it to be the only thing we do. After all, who wouldn't want to lend their voice to cartoons, video games, and anime all day, every day, right? Isn't that what the job is? The harsh reality is that being a full-time VA isn't just the fun stuff. There are so many arms on this voice acting path we've chosen, and we must almost always be aware of and actively work in all of the areas. Commercial, narration, e-learning, IVR, erotica, etc. The least fun stuff pays the bills, and the worst part, there is almost certainly someone out there who both wants it more than you and is willing to do all the drudgy parts of the job without breaking a sweat. I don't know about you, but my pain tolerance for the boring stuff isn't limitless. And beyond that, how often do you really book new stuff anyway? I consider myself fairly successful in the VO arena, and I also believe I book a fair amount of new stuff on the regular. But even with a good booking ratio, it sure isn't enough to cover my monthly expenses. Is it a big part of my income? Yeah, but I can't only yakety-yak into a mic and then take a trip to the beach when I'm done. Doing this as your only means of survival is honestly just not feasible for most. And if you, dear viewer, are a full-time VA, you already know the struggle. My favorite example of being a full-time actor is KG Tang. The dude has credits upon credits upon credits. That's the kind of career a lot of us aspire to. I have one of his tweets saved for whenever I get down in the dumps about my own career. P.S. A heartfelt thank you to KG for being vulnerable enough to post this. It really is a mindset changer. The truth is, KG does a ton of stuff in addition to all the great things he gets to do. In his thread, he talks about having to do the extra work of audio description, the less fun side of video games like being lit on fire and screaming until it hurts, participating in projects that he isn't necessarily thrilled about, and the list goes on and on. It really drives home that even though this is his working life, it still feels like, and is, work. And to put the cherry on top, he acknowledges that this career is both wildly unstable and leaves him with little free time at the end of it all. Of course, we're back to that labor of love again. He wouldn't do it if he didn't love it. And no offense to KG, but as awesome as his career sounds, I don't think I'd trade places with him. Not because I don't love what we collectively do, and not because his work is anything short of exemplary. I just don't think I'm as mentally or as emotionally strong as he must be to weather that kind of storm on a day-to-day basis. Another notable example in this space is Chris Hackney. I remember seeing his tweet in real time a few years ago when he posted it and was floored that this guy wasn't full-time. But the more I thought about it, yeah, it makes sense. Chris is super talented, but voice work just doesn't pay the bills all the time for every successful voice actor. And to reiterate something I have said before, how you define success is how you define success. Just because you aren't Scrooge McDucking in your VO money does not mean you are unsuccessful. You ever notice that VAs do all sorts of extra stuff on the side? Signing prints, attending cons, running workshops, directing, casting, writing, editing, and the list goes on and on and on. While most of that other stuff comes because of their hard work and building upon previous successes, they don't do it for free. That is now part of the job. They have to do that stuff to pay the rent. Okay, and before you come for me with torches and pitchforks, I'm not saying they don't love that stuff too, But it's a lot harder to love the things we used to dream about when they become the things we have to do to survive. I'll be the first to admit that I dreamed once upon a time of acting and editing video and audio all day from home. And now that I do that, I have new dreams. And sure enough, I catch myself feeling bored from time to time directly in the middle of something I used to want more than anything in the world. It's a human thing that we all do, and I do love my jobs, but I'm a dog who caught the car. My life is great, but I always know that the next adventure is still out there. If you have a survival job that you can tolerate, or better yet, one that allows you to take a generous amount of time off or have a flexible schedule, and you can still fit in time to voice act, hold on to it. If you're already a full-time VA, I'm sure you're experiencing the struggle now of full-time freelance life, and I salute you for having the fortitude to do so. But if you think even for a second that you are less of an actor, are less talented, are less deserving, or any other silly thought because you need to occasionally clean up on aisle 7, then I am here to personally affirm that you are an actor and you are an artist. Now, go do your auditions.